Click OK. So now it's adjusted this size based on whatever I did here, and I saw that it had come down a little, but the march. So if this is my home, remember when I did the plate preview and it came off the page?
Yeah.
Right? So as long as this march doesn't start off, I'm going to be in good shape. But if I just want to, be safe about it, I can always move, this around. I can,
Smaller,
yep,
yeah.
I can scale it proportionally. And let's just go ahead and do it like that. Okay? So that's my design. I like it. But the third step was setting home. When you use the measure feature, home gets set automatically through that measure feature. Now, if I don't use the measure feature, I'm going to show you how to set home manually. Watch this. Say I, jog around and let me bring this down a little. Okay. Say I want my home. To be right there, right? Notice new coordinates relative to my old home. Anytime I press set home, wherever this is positioned, it's going to zero out at 0, 0, right? If I, from here, 0, 0, I move over to here, and I come down to here, notice I have an X and a Y. I have an X and a Y relative to that 0, 0 point. I can go to plate size and manually enter in 3.199 because that's the width, right? The width. And my height is, tab, 0.819. So do you understand what I did? I set the home here at 0, 0. I moved across and down, and that's going to be my new engravable area. Right? That's how I do it manually.
Yeah.
I hit OK, or I can hit tab and then OK, and watch what happens. My plate size changed because I changed my engravable area here. Okay? So you can do it either way. You can use the laser because you're familiar with the laser, or you can do it manually this way. Either way, I've got a plate size and I fit my engraving in there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just do it like that. And good enough. Okay, so if I hit...
to clear that?
Nope.
No?
What I want to do is I want to hit go to home, because whenever you hit go to home, it goes wherever home's set.
Okay, yeah.
And then I'll know that home is set here because I can physically see that at 0, 0,
that's where we're starting.
it's right here, right? Okay. The fourth step is to set the surface. And you only need to set surface when you're doing glass and when you're doing glass. So you only need to set the surface when you're doing glass, because every other thing you do uses this proximity sensor, right? That proximity sensor automatically finds the surface. So now my piece is in place, my tool is set, my home is set, and if I hit go to home, that's where it is. And my surface is automatically set because I'm using the proximity sensor. Okay? So I said there were 3 steps. Our design, it's done, right? I change text, I open the template, change text, size it. My machine is set up because I set the material, I set the tool, I set the home, and the surface. Now I need to run the job. Part of running the job is checking the settings. And this is the step that I didn't see earlier. So if I go like this, you select what you engrave, right? You hit engrave, right? That's what you've been doing. And you've been choosing the material here, right? Well, what you should be doing and what should have been taught is that you need to go here in Tool Setup, okay? So draw a box with 3 dots. I don't know how you want to remember this, but tool setup.
So setup 3 dots. Okay.
Yeah, box with 3 dots. Tool setup. Focus in there if you want to. Right. Yeah. Yep. So when I click on it, this window opens up. Okay. Now, what's important here, and here's why I was doing metal, and then I went to acrylic, and it didn't cut right. If you go in here, the settings will automatically be what you choose, because after opening my tool setup, you should always, two always is there, reselect your material, because watch what happens. Oh, no, I didn't do it there, but it remembers the last job you did and the settings for the last job you did. So one thing our software does really well is it remembers the last setting. One thing it does poorly is it remembers the last setting. Because if you're doing acrylic and you switch to metal, it'll remember acrylic, right?
Oh, okay.
So come in here, reselect the material, okay? And let me talk about these speeds for a second and accessories. On the left-hand side, okay, on the left-hand side, you have cut velocity. That's the speed that the spindle is moving across the material. Plunge velocity is how fast it comes down on the material. Spindle speed is how fast I'm rotating this, revolutions per minute, right? That's spindle speed. Z clearance is in between the vector, how high do I lift before moving to the next vector. This is important, especially when you've got, you know, something cylindrical. If I'm working down here, I need to lift high enough when I move to clear the top, or else I'm going to scratch the top as I move across. So Z clearance is important there. Dwell is how long it sits before moving. Normally, it's not a big issue. That's typically used when we're routing like wood and metal and harder materials. Okay, that's what we call our feeds and speeds, right? On the right-hand side are our accessories, what I call accessories. So, spindle, vacuum, and proximity. If you think about the job that's being done, we're taking a diamond and we're scratching on metal, right? We're not rotating the spindle. Therefore, spindle is 0, right? So a 0 is off and a 1 is on, right? In this case, actually, you don't even need the vacuum, so that should be off. Okay? So the spindle is off, the vacuum is off, and the proximity is on, because we're using this proximity sensor to automatically find the surface. Okay? So, spindle, vacuum, proximity. After you've reselected the materials, verified the speeds and your accessories, we can click OK. And typically, if you're doing the same job over and over, you won't have to check it, but the best practice is to go in here, reselect the material, see that everything's okay, click OK, and then send the job.
So those numbers are already in there, you don't mess with them, you just leave them?
Right. Once they're set and that's all you're doing with that particular material, you won't have to mess with them.
It remembers.
Right. But you need to understand what they do in case someone else messes with them and you need to set them back.
Okay.
It's fully customizable, but the problem with that is someone might come in there and try to customize it and accidentally click something.
Okay.
Right? So understanding what they are and what they do, you'll be able to look there and like, oh wait, I'm trying to do this now, maybe I should rotate it, maybe I shouldn't. You'll be able to do new and different materials that way. So I'm going to send it to the engraver and hit engrave. And you'll see the job come up on the pendant.